List and frontline pros breaking down the issues that affect your health, your family, and your future. If you've got a question for the doctor, the phone lines are open 505-243-3333. And now, Dr. Greg Sherr.
Oh, yeah, this is a packed episode today. We've got so many visitors. It's just fantastic. Most importantly, we have the Riddler. My daughter Daria is here, and I get more. There's two types of phone calls I get on this show, guys, though. The first one is from old veterans looking for urology advice. And I don't think they know that I'm a neurosurgeon, but I've had to study up on it, so I got the whole erectile dysfunction thing. And the second thing is the Riddler. So Daria comes on about every 2 or 3 months, and then she's got some riddles, and then people, they're stumped by whatever she has to say. So we're going to bring you on shortly, but you're sort of the star of the show. However, our formal guests, and I am so grateful for two luminaries in the community and healthcare that are very important people that we need to talk to. Nicole Chavez is here in New Mexico House District 31. You have already been a champion of good healthcare reform in this state, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here this morning.
Apparently you use healthcare yourself. You come hobbling in today with a pink cast. What happened to you?
Well, I missed the bottom 2 stairs. So public service announcement. Don't text message and walk downstairs.
Do you have a gigantic marble staircase in your house?
I do not. They're carpeted. It's a small staircase. Just missed the bottom little 2, but it tore ligaments. So I'm on the recovery.
And then we have Dr. Mark Epstein, who's sort of a mentor of mine in the political sphere of medicine, and just a fascinating dude. So you were traditionally trained as an ER doctor, and then kind of made your way through a bunch of different organizations.
I couldn't hold a job, I guess you might say. But
I admire that.
Started in the ER, got into administration, healthcare administration, running medical groups, and actually was part of Obamacare in starting up a health plan here in New Mexico Health Connections.
Fantastic. So we have a lot to unpack today, but I'm just going to be straight up and I'm passionate about this problem that my friend Nicole Chavez is going to help us solve. We made so much progress, Dr. Epstein and a little bit myself and some of the other advocate doctors on this HB 99. And I have this foreboding sense that the lawyers in town are trying to unseat you, and that you're up for re-election. And they viciously want to undermine the progress we made and overturn it. And they put out probably one of the nastiest candidates I can think of to fight against you. And so I think I'm going to just start there and have you tell us a little bit about your platform and what you're up against, because we need to fight against her.
Well, so you're correct. I have one of the biggest individuals. She's a medical malpractice trial attorney. Lisa Curtis. She is my new opponent after some very interesting movement within the central committee that was done to get her.
Well, I want to make the solid point that this is who the Democrats have chosen. This is the personality and the face of the Democratic Party in your district. And it's an aggressive trial attorney who wants to undermine medicine and represents greed. So how do you fight this?
Well, I fight it by first I've been there 2 years now. I think I work really hard around healthcare, access to healthcare, affordability. We have to have a balance,
right?
But people need a doctor to see, and healthcare needs to be affordable. So there are a lot of legislation that I've fought for and introduced the last couple of years to work around that. And we worked hard across party lines to get medical malpractice reform.
Thank you.
And it was really hard. There was a lot of things done within this last legislative session. And my opponent was in the front row making sure that piece of legislation was going to die. She was very upset as it was moving through.
Like visibly
upset. I sit on Health and Human Services Committee, and then I also sit on Judiciary Committee. So it went in front of my 2 committees specifically, and then onto the floor. And then when it got over to the Senate, Senator Duhigg, who works in her practice, then put a bunch of really bad amendments into House Bill 99 yet again.
I was there for that. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how else do you kill this thing?
You know, it could take an hour just talking about that
Yeah.
bill and how it moved through. But Senator Brantley did such an amazing job on the floor debating that and pulling those horrible amendments out. And ultimately, it ended up passing, thankfully.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty clear choice. And I'm hoping that my district really pays attention to, do you want healthcare? We're moving in the right direction. We just got medical malpractice reform passed. And if you elect my opponent, we will
it's done.
undo
Yeah.
all the hard work
Right.
that all of the providers, all of the community members, all of the legislators just did. And we will not be able to get doctors back in New Mexico.
I'm doing recruiting, and it does sell a little bit. Like if I say I want a doctor to come in and join my practice, say, look at the reforms we started. Dr. Epstein has his hand up. He is so excited. What are you going to say?
Well, we in the medical community were watching this and fighting along with Nicole and others. And I would almost reframe it. This is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is about the healthcare in New Mexico. And I and a series of other physicians who traditionally lean Democrat are recognizing the writings on the wall in this coming election. For those of us who are in House District 31, we're like, it doesn't matter, R or D. We need to preserve the steps that we've taken. So thank you for the work and recognizing this goes well beyond the politics. This is about people's health.
And honestly, I wish we didn't have a D or an R during elections, because a lot of times, people are so set on, I'm only voting for the Democrat or I'm only voting for the Republican, instead of looking at what those people actually stand for, what kind of work they've done in the legislature. And I think that there are a lot of legislators like me that look at our district that we vote for and all of New Mexico. And so we look at legislation that's really going to help New Mexicans, whether that's around affordability, public safety, healthcare. And so that's really what I stand for and what I'm going to try to continue to fight for.
And an intelligent conversation. It's lovely, as opposed to the rhetoric about killing babies and stuff like that. It doesn't advance the cause at all.
Right. We have a lot of work to do to try to build the infrastructure that doctors want to come and be a part of or stay as a part of. And I've talked about it on this show before. I've been on the medical case review committee, which is three doctors and 3 lawyers, and that balance works. It's a really brilliant idea. I guess there's some legal hangups now that we've got to figure out how to make that more sort of legally viable. But it really was a good conversation. It was reaching between the two professions and trying to find a balance. And we voted cases down, and the lawyers voted with the doctors and said, this is not a reasonable case. It's a greedy case. And then I've had to look at other cases and say, the lawyers have a point. I mean, I think this needs to be in front of a jury. We don't get the chance to decide this. So it can go both ways with a bunch of reasonable-minded people. The rhetoric has doomed the state. I mean, Nicole, 8% attrition of doctors, especially specialists like me, out of the state. How do we address that?
I think it has to be, one, affordability. We have to have doctors in the state, and medical malpractice reform was really just the first step in doing that, because what we were hearing when we were trying to recruit doctors to New Mexico is, I'm not going to practice there because I can't afford my medical malpractice insurance.
All these big payouts.
Yes, huge. I mean, there were no caps on punitive damages.
Right.
There really wasn't an evidentiary standard. We ended up setting that. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
That was huge. And then the just being able to review those claims one at a time. So when doctors were leaving, they were telling us the same thing, right? I can't afford to practice here. I have to close my doors. I used to pay $4,000 a month, and now I pay $14,000 a month.
Right.
And so if we don't have doctors for New Mexicans to see, they have to go out of state. Yep. A lot of people are even, unfortunately, passing away. My dear friend, Senator Nicole Tobiasen, we share the district.
Yeah, she and I were trying to help her husband.
Yeah, she went through a lot with her husband, and unfortunately, Mark, passed away a few months ago, but she lived through the system. And so she is also furious that the work we did in Santa Fe.
She and I are friends. She's agreed to come on the show, and I just want to shout out to her. I mean, she continued to serve all the way through her husband's illness. And he had to go out of state. We're going to take a short break, come back and kind of probe Dr. Epstein's mind. I think I got all these questions for you about how we bring capital to this state and reinvest it. I've been to the entrepreneurial part of medicine because I think that generates jobs. Last week, Greg Hull was on. He was talking about how we could funnel some money into making doctors viable as an entrepreneur in the community. Let's say they grew up somewhere in Cuba and they wanted to stay there and open a practice financially. Like, how do you, because they employ nurses and techs, and that entrepreneurship is gone. The last neurosurgeon who was in private practice left last year. There are no self-employed business development people that do my profession. So, all right. So now we are ready for our first riddle. So Daria is my 11-year-old, and she's super smart, and she stumps me sometimes. So do you have your first riddle for the audience?
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
So, a rooster from a United States farm crosses the border to Canada and lays an egg.
Gets a tariff.
No, it lays an egg. Who does the egg belong to?
I don't know, like the farmer. Okay, well, we'll let the audience figure that one out. Give us a call if you got an idea about this rooster riddle. 505-243-3333. The doctor's in. Give us a call. We're going to take a short break and come back with Nicole Chavez and Dr. Mark Epstein and the Riddler. All right.
TJ Trout here, and the Seed Sack largest pumpkin growing and carving contest is looking for sponsors. Get your name and products and services out in front of thousands of people on 96.3 News Radio KKOB and in front of our huge crowd in October. The event is Saturday, October 17th at El Pinto on 4th Street. And this year, we're officially part of the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth, who do the pumpkin growing events across the country and around the world. So if you want to be a sponsor, contact our General Sales Manager, Jason Martinez, on how you could be part of this fun fall event. Call Jason at 505-767-6700.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market indexed returns and limit the downside? Join Nick Norton for the Safe Money and Income radio show on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. You can also call Nick Norton now for your complimentary customized Safe Money and Income radio kit and Safe Money and Income radio book at 844-353-7233. That's 844-353-SAFE.
TJ Trout here, and I spend a lot of time trying to make sense of this world, but there's one thing I can't explain. Why do some of you have bathrooms straight from a 1985 time capsule? I mean, the 80s were awesome, but not so much for bathroom design. If this is you, then it's time to call the local fine folks at Inside Out Remodeling. Now, on the inside, they can take that tired old bathtub and swap it for a new, sleek, modern walk-in shower or a walk-in safety tub for those of us who aren't as bouncy as we used to be. And they can do this all in one day. Seriously, a new bathroom in one day. And for the outside of your home, Inside Out Remodeling provides complete whole house replacement stucco and siding. Now, right now, get a new shower installed at just $79.50 or take 10% off a whole house re-stucco. Stop living in a time capsule. Get your project started with a free in-home estimate. Go to ioremodel.com. That's ioremodel.com. Inside Out Remodeling, making remodeling easy.
Like it or not, crime is a reality. Help protect your family with the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Trusted by law enforcement, the Byrna Launcher has powerful non-lethal deterrence, a 60-foot range, stopping attackers up to 40 minutes. Byrna is legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks or permits, and can be shipped right to your door. And for a limited time, save 25% site-wide at Byrna.com. Hurry, the sale ends Monday. Visit Byrna.com today. That's BYRNA.com. Must be 18 plus. Purchase and shipping restrictions vary by state and municipality. Go to Byrna.com to check availability at your location.
Physical recovery looks different for everyone, but having the right team and the right tools makes all the difference. At Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital of Albuquerque, their clinicians use cutting-edge technology, from robotic exoskeletons that rebuild movement to simulators that practice everyday skills like getting in a car, climbing stairs, or moving through your home, alongside expert therapy and around-the-clock nursing care. Your recovery plan, your goals. Every tool needed to get there. Visit encompasshealth.com to learn more.
Albuquerque's station for news, weather, and traffic. 96.3 News Radio KKOB. Depend on it.
Okay, we are back with my new good friends, our representative Nicole Chavez, District 31. So the folks that live out there, that's basically the
The far northeast so
Yeah.
North Albuquerque Acres, Tanawan East, High Desert.
All right. I need all of those listeners to vote for her, re-elect her, because the alternative not so good. And we're here with Mark Epstein, one of my partners and a doctor advocate, I would say, and a kind of a neutral mind, but a very smart guy who's been advocating for doctors for a long time on Gamma. But more importantly, we threw a riddle out there, and I believe we have a caller that may have the answer. Dari, do you want to get over here towards the mic? Because if it's wrong, it's going to be problems. All right. Who's calling, and what do you think the answer is?
Hello?
Hi. You have an answer to the riddle?
Well, there's two possible answers, I think. Either it's the Guinness Book of World Records because roosters can't lay eggs.
Oh, he might have got it. All right. What's option number 2, though?
Well, it'd have to be a trans rooster.
in this day and age, you are correct on both accounts. Very good. We are politically agnostic on the trans issue, and that's an interesting, very colorful rooster is what I would say.
Yeah. Well, and I'd also, Dr. Sherr, I'd really like to get a chance to speak to you about some medical issues that I've had here in New Mexico. They're very disturbing. And
can you give us a one-sentence synopsis of the topic? Access, or you've had sort of bad diagnosis, or what have you struggled with?
Bad diagnosis, bad administration, drug problems. That's some of them.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Jerry, our producer who you talk to, will get your phone number, and then I would love to sort of put together some of your thoughts, and we could be on the air together maybe at some point and kind of address it. That's a whole nother topic, but I am sensitive to it, and we need to improve healthcare. So thank you for starting that discussion. And people who have some concerns about the healthcare system, we need to improve it, and I want to use this show to do it. So call in, and we'll try to add it in. Thank you for your thoughts. Tell me your first name again. Is he gone? Oh, Jerry's talking to him. Okay. Well, we'll get to him later. That's, this is a project, and I think Nicole and Mark are both people who are going to try to make it better, and that's the point. Daria, did you get it right?
I don't know. I can't hear.
He said roosters can't lay eggs.
Yeah.
All right. So be ready with your next one. Okay.
I don't have headphones.
That's fine. All right. Mark, one of my complaints is that the economic engine for healthcare in the States is clearly lacking. But you know better than I do what's the 40,000 foot view of that. I mean, Presbyterian is having its troubles, and a private practice is not a viable option for many people. I know of some failing larger practices, and so you kind of work in some of that economic space. Is there a way to make this a viable place to do the business of healthcare? I mean, we need the investments to put the people to work, right?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you bringing up the question. At that 40,000 foot level, there's been an unfortunate debate. Public funding only, private funding only. Private equity is the greatest evil we've ever seen.
Right.
At the 40,000 foot level, in America, in New Mexico, today in 2026, and for the foreseeable future, we need a partnership of both private investment and public investment. We are not ready to be a fully publicly funded entity here in New Mexico healthcare.
Right.
So with that in mind, and that is the given, we need to find those partnerships. There is no one great or failing public entity that funds, or failing great or horrible private entity.
And just so the audience is clear on it, the private equity would be like the group that owns Loveless, for example, or educate me. What
Sure.
does that mean?
I think that's a great question because people are confusing a lot.
Yeah.
Let's take the biggest term, private investment. That means non-public, non-tax-based investment.
So, for example, the university, the overhead and the expenses are all paid by the tax base, right?
That's a public funded entity.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, oftentimes there's a mixing of the two because you'll have a not-for-profit system like Presbyterian
right?
where they have public funding in terms of tax breaks, but they are a private entity.
Right.
And
but they are not for profit.
But they are
That's
not for
another distinction.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there's been some legislation come through that tries to paint with too broad of a brushstroke, stop all private equity. It's like, wait a second.
Right.
If we scare away money, read resources,
Right.
read jobs from New Mexico, we're in a lot of trouble.
It's one of the reasons, Greg Hull was on last 2 weeks ago, and his wife worked for Intel, and he himself was instrumental in kind of getting them to reinvest and bring more open jobs, and that means more insured people that are well insured, and they support the base that supports the healthcare system. So more good jobs, more high level jobs, engineering jobs. You would agree that that's what we got to do to get to the next level, don't we?
Absolutely. And we need to have an intelligent, nuanced conversation, not these broad brushstrokes conversation about it. And that includes for independent clinicians, which a lot of them happen to be specialists. If we want to keep them around, they need access to capital, access to money and resources in a way that's not encumbered with all the threats of litigation, all the challenges with practicing in New Mexico.
Nicole, I mean, is that on your radar? Is there a way to reinvigorate the economics that, and again, I think my biggest point is I think about all these nurses that want to stay local in their community and have a specialist like me that lives in Cuba and can do surgery in Cuba. And that's all going away. It's that there used to be a mom and pop thing, and it employed all the ancillary folks that helped with healthcare. Can we get back to that somehow?
I think we're on the right path to get back to that. And I think, our medical malpractice reform was one step. Loan repayment has been huge. I've talked to several
talk a little bit
people.
about that. That's great.
We gave funding for loan repayment to providers in this state, and not just rural healthcare, but in the urban areas as well. And so imagine being a physician and having a lot of
I
student
graduated
loans.
with $250,000.
Imagine
So
getting those
that was a
loans
long time ago.
repaid by the state because you are going to practice here in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's
So we
fantastic.
want to recruit more providers to first study here and then stay here. And I think that should help. There's also legislation that we've been looking at for homes in rural communities,
Perfect.
trying to recruit people from rural communities so that they go back and stay in those rural communities for their families. And so there's a lot of different things that we're working on legislative wise. But when you talk about economic development, that's huge for New Mexico. People were not wanting to come here because they Google New Mexico. They look at public safety. They look at
Homelessness and
education,
violence
and there's a lot of negativity when you look online, and not finding a doctor is one of them. We have a lot of activity at our bases here, which is huge for New Mexico. But we've heard from the bases that they're not able to recruit some of our best people because they may have kids with certain health conditions, and
Sure.
there's no specialists here in New Mexico or close by that can help. And people that want to build companies here, they look at public safety, they look at healthcare, they look at education. And if we can't recruit or retain our doctors to want to stay here or even want to come here, nothing's going to help that. So there's just three big things, right? We have to fix healthcare, we have to fix public safety, and we have to fix education before we see big economic development.
I have two questions for you. One is, I'm assuming that you supported this effort to get the repayment of the loans for the docs.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just doctors, right? Is it other?
It's other providers.
Other
just
providers.
all healthcare
So
providers.
PAs,
nurses. We have OT. We had. I was actually talking to an occupational therapist that was talking about it yesterday.
Great. So that's where we can be creative. I mean, the whole thing about paying for childcare too. I mean, if this state gets organized and reaches across the aisle and does things that create a better quality of life, you're going to keep the doctors. We got to do something about this 8% attrition. But your backstory is really the public safety thing, and of course that's public health, and I have a background in that too. And you started an advocacy group, and you personally had to cope with that. Your story is amazing, and I give you and your husband's here, and obviously your resilience is really remarkable. What led you to do the work that you're doing now as a public representative?
So, unfortunately, I've lived through a person's worst nightmare 11 years ago. My son, Jaden, who was 17 at the time, it was the summer before his senior year, captain of the football team. He had just been accepted to the Air Force
Oh,
Academy.
wow.
He was at a house party, which these teenagers are consistently doing right now. And I often tell teenagers now, if you don't know who's going to be there, who's
Yeah.
been there, or who's walking in, you don't even know who lives there.
Right.
And it's very dangerous. So unfortunately, he was at a house party. He had been there for 8 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And there was a drive-by shooting. There had been a fight there a month before, and these people were getting revenge on the hosts of the house party, and I guess they thought the bullets were going to magically hit them, but unfortunately, my son got hit just below his collarbone, and the bullet hit his upper lung.
Wow.
And
there's blood vessels there. And
yes,
was he the only one that was struck?
He was. He was
My
the only one that was
goodness.
struck, and there were, 2 people that had guns and unloaded on that house, and then it just led from one nightmare to the other. The 911 operator hung up on his friend that was calling for help. So what did they do? And I'm looking at 2 doctors in the room. They were giving him CPR.
Okay.
And as we know, punctured lung, that was probably the worst thing they could do to a gunshot victim. So anyway, living through that nightmare, being thrown in the judicial system here in New Mexico was what led me to do my advocacy work. It feels like there's no rights for victims, and they give more rights to the criminals. And they care more about why the criminal did what he did, which we definitely need to look at. But they don't look at what the victims and the victims' families are left with. And there's not a lot of accountability. It's like a slap on the hand. And so I just started fighting for victims, giving victims rights. I worked a lot with Raul Torres, who at the time was the district attorney.
Mm-hmm.
We brought a lot of funding for a victims center at the district attorney's office. There's now a large area. There's kitchens, there's victim services and advocates that work out there now. We worked on victims' rights. I've had
what is your organization's name?
Robbed. ROBBED, New Mexico. And every September, I have a very large event at Civic Plaza because it's the National Day of Homicide Advocate Day. And so
Can people donate to your cause?
They can happily. It's not a 501c3 though. So we tried to set that up once. And as advocates, it was just too hard. We didn't have, the attorneys to set that up years ago. So we've just been doing it. I pay for most of that out of my pockets, or get people that want to, pay for the AV system, or pay for food, or pay for programs. But usually it's just myself, and our loved ones. But it's great because I think that you really need to remember and honor these people. They'll be forgotten. So I think that it's always so important to say their names. And my son's name was Jaden, and I miss him dearly, but that's what led to advocacy up in the
God bless you and your family. That's I was in New York City in the late 80s when the crack epidemic was there. I was a medical student. And, as much as he was a controversial figure, Rudy Giuliani came in and cleaned the place, and got rid of the dealers, and put fair beating, like subway, people jump on the things, and he would arrest the small time criminals, and they would of course end up being the big time criminals. And it went from a very dangerous place, lots of gun violence on the streets where I lived, and within a year or two, it was a whole nother world. It can be done. Like what you're trying to do can be done, but there's got to be support for it. They've really got to come up with a different policing model and different consequences for these guys that killed your son.
Yeah.
I assume they were caught.
Yes, one was only in YDC for a year because he was 15.
Okay.
The other was 17. He finally got a life sentence, which was 30 years. But then a few years ago, the legislation passed the second chance law for juveniles that were convicted as adults, and it actually pulled that back to either 15, 20, or 25, depending on what they did. And so that was kind of a blow. We fought against that the first time it came through. And that case took so long that individual actually ended up killing another person 6 months after killing Jaden.
Lord.
at another party, and
Okay,
he
and-
only got 12 years for that one.
If any of our law enforcement folks are listening to this story, please come on my show and tell us how we're going to fix Nicole's problem and make this a better, safer place. You're going to have to come back on. We're going to talk about public health. That's crazy. All right. I guess we got to take a break, and that's a somber thought, but I think Jaden's history is got to inform what we do next. And, public health is not just about retaining doctors. It's about making this a safer place and less access to fentanyl. You wouldn't believe the number of gang-related, drug-related violence, and then, obviously deaths that we see in the hospital. So some of this stuff's got to get straightened out in New Mexico. On that somber thought, we got one more riddle from the Riddler. This one's got to be more challenging. So you're going to up your game? All right, get right in there.
I should do the challenging one last.
No. Try it.
Okay, I'm trying to decide which one to do. What dries at the same time as it gets wet?
Ooh, that's a good one. My porch outside, that it's always raining lately. I don't know. Okay, don't answer that. We're going to come right back. We got a quick break. We're here with Nicole Chavez and Mark Epstein, and we're talking about healthcare and politics. Some strong opinions I have on today's show. So 96.3 News Radio KKOB. Give us a call, 505-243-3333, especially if you have an answer to the riddle, and we'll be right back.
It's Brandon Vogt live at Rich Ford in Edgewood, 27th anniversary celebration. Allison, a lot of fun stuff going on out here today.
Yes, it's still fun. Even this far into the month, we have something planned every weekend, like with the Team Shelby Mustang Club. They do a lot of events here in the Rocky Mountain region. They have amazing cars. They have collector trading cards. So if you're a car enthusiast, they have cards for you to come purchase. They will even make cards for your fancy cars. So really great guys over there. We also have your chance to win a 2026 Cherokee Wolf Pup travel trailer from our friends at Rocky Mountain RV and Marine. No purchase necessary. And grab a hot dog while you're here taking a look at our special edition Fords, only here in Edgewood in August, like the Bronco Baja Edition or even the Bronco Sport, the Shock Edition. Those are both here in Edgewood. And the Maverick Nomad, the perfect little truck to get around on a Saturday. We work with all different vendors with the lending institutions. So if credit's a little bit tricky, that's okay. They trust Rich Ford, they trust our customers, and they'll do a lot to get you approved. We're going to have a great time in Edgewood. Come say hi.
Yeah, come and see us. Edgewood, Rich Ford's Brandon Vogt on News Radio KKOB.
As much as I love all the sunshine in New Mexico, I don't always love it in the summer. These summers can be brutal on old windows and doors. So if the sun hits your windows and your home heats up faster than a microwave, Window World can help. Their windows help block heat, improve comfort, and can even help lower your energy bills. And unlike some contractors, Window World makes it affordable. They have national buying power right here in Albuquerque. I know firsthand. They did my home last year. And yes, my home now stays cooler in the summer. So do what I did and call my friends at Window World, because right now they will upgrade your new window purchase with free Solar Zone Elite Glass. That's a $155 upgrade per window at no extra cost to you. Get the energy efficiency your home needs and the beauty you want, all at an unbelievable price. Get started at windowworldalbuquerque.com. Window World, windows, doors, and a whole lot more.
The Albuquerque Home Improvement and Design Show has created a spectacular event for the whole family. August the 22nd and 23rd at Expo, New Mexico.
And Pistons for Patriots is having a huge car show, which benefits veterans.
Nervous about your retirement accounts or bank accounts? Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every weekend on Sunday at 4 o'clock and learn more about precious metals. That's The Gold Show from Golden Crest Metals, goldencrestmetals.com.
The Doctor is In is brought to you by Encompass Health, the nation's leader in rehabilitation, helping patients rebuild strength, regain independence, and return to life.
All right, we are back. Two of my new favorite guests, of course, Nicole Chavez, House District 31 running for re-election, and we need to get her in there. It's important for healthcare. And Dr. Mark Epstein, kind of a luminary and outside the box thinker. Would you say that's sort of?
I don't like boxes.
Yeah. I want to kind of get back to what you do. I have this fantasy, so I want to pick up from something that you talked about earlier, which is venture capital and sort of combined with nonprofit and state or taxpayer funded money. I have this idea. Orthopedics and neurosurgery in this state are huge driving forces. They generate a fair amount of money and they take care of a lot of terribly sick patients, obviously. I have the fantasy of building a joint hospital that has sort of a Venn diagram, has sort of three parts to it. One part of it is the nonprofit part. The other part of it is industry innovation, where we develop new microscopic tools, for example, or robotic tools, and we trial them, obviously with FDA approval and all that. But we bring iterations of new technology into surgery and prove them. And the benefit, obviously, to the patients is that, you get the cutting edge stuff and it's being built here. And by the way, we've got all the engineers in the world to do this kind of thing in this place. And so there's some really great strengths in New Mexico to do technology advancement. With the third part of the Venn diagram is we build this very progressive, efficient, state-of-the-art hospital that does joint replacements and, spine surgery and implants, and brings on robotics and does all the field testing, all of that. And then a part of the nonprofit is to funnel some of that money and funds into a really aggressive stroke system and triage system. So what I like to say is, if you have a heart attack out somewhere in the reservation, you could probably get to a local hospital somewhere that can do a catheterization for your heart. But if you have a stroke, it doesn't exist in this state, except for maybe the university sometimes has comprehensive coverage. They lost it and they got it back. And now we're trying to do it and bring it up to speed. But stroke care needs a lot of investment and a lot of technology like that. So am I crazy to think that there's a way to build a three-way relationship, bring industry back into this state, much the way that Sandia Labs might work, high engineering, high technology, profit, on the part of the companies that make, there's companies that make the screws that I put in people's back, and use us and our expertise here, all the while doing all the nonprofit stuff at the same time, sort of combining that. It's like an estuary working together, for-profit venture capital, like you say. What do you think?
Absolutely. And in fact, we have a state investment entity that takes state funds that are coming from revenues from natural gas and other state.
Oh, sure.
And they create, they have, the state is very wealthy right now, quite frankly, and they have the opportunity, and they are investing in private innovative changes in a public partnership to create, as I was saying before, this interlinking between public and private entities, not for profit, for profit.
I just need $100 million. I don't know why this is hard.
That is actually well within the realm. And in fact,
oh my gosh,
the question that's happening as we speak today is, where's the EDD, the Economic Development Department, working with the state investment folks around bringing the private sector and the public sector together to do exactly what you're talking about in healthcare.
Let me take it one step further.
Yeah.
I actually have the money. I have commitments from some of the engineering companies and supply chain companies that provide my instruments. They have come here and they've met with me and some other folks. And we have a small sort of informal coalition of people, and they're willing. We're talking potentially $25 million each. And so we could do this, but obviously I'm not big enough entity to put it all together. We'd need something like government or you'd have to tell me who to talk to, because a shiny new hospital that has a good cause, but is built on engineering and technology development and generates money. I mean, this whole thing about jobs creation, engineering creation, and you funnel that into the public service. It's a very different way of thinking than just tax and spend.
Exactly. And we can go offline. We can chat about the opportunities, because there are a lot of folks who have a lot of great ideas and have the will to see it through. And there are many folks in the state legislature, in the roundhouse on the 4th floor, and in the governor's office who want to make that happen.
Yeah, this would be a center of excellence. All right, Nicole, I want this put forth as a motion immediately.
We have plenty of money because remember, we are actually not a poor state. We're a very rich state because of oil and gas. And we could do so much good for New Mexicans if we all stop pointing the finger across the table and sit at the table together and get to work. So
I tell you, this has been a fantasy of mine. I have a proposal I've written. I've looked at the economics. It will generate serious money and be efficient. And it's a combined. I look at the heart hospital. I'm like, we can do that. We can do it even better. We can really bring a center of excellence, and people would want to flock here to be a part of innovation like that. Where else could you be a neurosurgeon and develop robotics, for example? I mean, man, we got all the engineers. All right, I guess we got to take a quick break. Otherwise, I'm going to get yelled at by Jerry.
I'm not going to yell. But before we do take a break, we do have an answer on the text line.
No one's going to get this one. All right,
the previous quiz.
So, Daria, again, tell us quickly, what is the riddle?
What dries at the same time as it gets wet?
All right. And the text answer was
a sponge.
Oh, that's not correct.
It's not?
No.
Close.
Oh,
it's close, though. Mark might have got it. Dr. Epstein?
Yeah, a towel.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, because
what does he win? Does he
it's
get like
dry-
a
no.
free Starbucks
No.
extra foam or
No.
something? No?
Because it's drying you at the same time as it's
Oh.
getting wet.
Well, it could be a
It's
paper
absorbing
towel,
the
too.
water.
I'm saying.
Well,
Paper
Jerry,
towel.
We don't need the technicalities that you keep interjecting into this.
Just say.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Wait, we need one more riddle. You ready?
Oh, right.
Okay. Go quick.
I'm bigger than a bully, but smaller than God. I do good deeds, but I'm not perfect. What am I?
Ooh. Okay. Take the break and we'll be back. No one's going to get that.
During the Make This the Summer Sales Event at Malloy Chrysler, Jeep Dodge Ram in Los Lunas, pick up a new 2026 Ram 1500 4x4 and save over $15,000. Plus, you get America's best full-size powertrain warranty, Ram's exclusive 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection. Don't miss your chance to own Ram luxury and capability for thousands less. Call 505-866-2900 today, where nobody beats a Los Lunas deal. Number 35258 dealer for other tables.
Bob Clark here. Albuquerque summers are perfect for getting things done. And if your home's exterior has been taking a beating from the sun, now's the time to fix it. Andy's Painting Company has been the local go-to since 2001. Interior, exterior, cabinets, bonded, insured, and backed by 6 service guarantees that make the whole process very simple. Same-day estimates, daily updates, even a touch-up kit when the job's done. Built on quality, painted with pride. Call Andy's Painting Company today for your free, no-pressure estimate.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune into the Core Financial Retirement Show with Phil Gordley of Core Financial, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10. Phil talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Make sure you're well informed before you retire. Listen Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 to the Core Financial Retirement Show with Phil Gordley. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Physical recovery looks different for everyone, but having the right team and the right tools makes all the difference. At Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital of Albuquerque, their clinicians use cutting-edge technology, from robotic exoskeletons that rebuild movement to simulators that practice everyday skills like getting in a car, climbing stairs, or moving through your home, alongside expert therapy and around-the-clock nursing care. Your recovery plan, your goals. Every tool needed to get there. Visit encompasshealth.com to learn more.
There's an app for that. Yeah, we know. For the best streaming experience, download the KKOB app in the iTunes or Google Play Store.
All right. What an amazing chat we are having today. Dr. Mark Epstein and Nicole Chavez running for re-election, District 31. I don't know that anybody called in on the riddle.
No, nobody did.
But, okay. So, Daria, you want to try one more time? And then I think one of our guests today is going to make an incorrect stab at it. So go ahead. What is the riddle?
Okay, so I'm bigger than a bully. I'm smaller than God. I do good deeds, but I'm not perfect. What am I?
All right, Mark, you're 2 for 2. Do you have any last thoughts?
I am going to flail on this one.
This one's tough.
I made it up my own.
Go ahead. What is it?
It's the bigger person.
Oh, the bigger person.
Nice.
That's a good one.
All right, you're gonna start your own little website or something.
Yes.
Daria the Riddler. We have a short period of time. This has gone so quickly. You both have to come back on so we can go over all the rest of the topics we've generated today. But Mark, kind of, you've been in the community doing and growing various businesses and leading them. You know where the bodies are buried. I want to know how we ended up here. I don't really understand how the trial lawyers have figured out how to infiltrate the legislature and get these permissive bills passed back in the day. And I don't even know the timeline of it, where we would allow such things, where the public good would be swayed to support the idea that there are no caps and that you can bankrupt large healthcare organizations. How did this come to be?
Boy, that's a whole nother show in terms of how did we get here. However, the point that you make is a great one. It's out of balance. It's way out of balance.
Yeah.
We need to balance the justice for injured individuals,
Right.
as well as not pulling too many resources, money, whatever, out of the healthcare system. So what's happened is the trial lawyers, in their very strong lobby, very unified voice, they have gotten too much control in the state legislature. It's just that
they've had people actually kind of infiltrated and become employed as representatives, right?
Well, I
Or
salute,
elected, I should
salute anybody who wants to run for office to get their views seen. The reality is it is just out of balance. And we have opposed in the last legislative session to say enough already. People are being hurt by this imbalance of too much power with the trial lawyers. We need to protect the people now.
Yeah. And so the effort to do this was organized by these trial lawyers. I mean, I believe Lisa Curtis was the head of Nicole. Is that?
She is the past president of the Trials Association.
Okay. So they have made a conscious effort to get people elected with their money and their resources.
And in fact, they are making the rules of the game. And the more that they make the rules of the game, they will win by the rules of the game. And the rules are hurting people. And so they have acted rationally in an irrational system, which is unfortunate. So we need to take back the power to say, wait a second, we've lost the balance here.
Yeah, we need more healthcare professionals probably running for office then. I don't know.
That would be a good view. That would be good.
Yes. Any retired physicians that are willing to step up,
Yeah.
please welcome you.
So I guess the last few minutes are yours, Nicole. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about your agenda? I mean, so we kind of touched on the public health and the public violence thing. And you're obviously very passionate about that, and the retention of doctors. What else is on your platform that we should be knowing about you?
Well, you said healthcare. We need to expand access. We talked about that. We talked about public safety, affordability, and economic growth. We talked about that a little bit, lowering costs, supporting small businesses
Right.
that want to start here, growing New Mexico's economy. We can't do any of those things without one another. So I think we really want to build on that. But those are the most important. So just supporting our hardworking New Mexicans here in New Mexico so they can afford to pay their bills, afford to pay health care. We did pass legislation to cover the subsidies that the federal government cut. And I think that's allowing health care in New Mexico. New Mexico was one of the largest states that had people enrolling in insurance this year, I think.
We were going to talk about that. Let me interrupt you real quick, because I think one of the things that people don't get their hands around easily is what the state of Medicare and Medicaid is, and then of course the Obamacare level exchanges, which by an odd twist of fate, this is one of the few states, maybe the only state, that's been successful with that, Mark. Is that right?
Well, in the last year, in the face of federal cuts for subsidies of health insurance, New Mexico actually grew its enrollment in the exchange, which is where people go.
And why is that a good thing?
Oh, when people have coverage, they are not going to delay care. They're going to get their care paid for, and diseases and injuries can be treated earlier in the process.
But the point is, the more people, since we have the exchange, we can debate whether it was a good thing or not. But we have it in place, and then the more people that are in it, what does that mean?
More people can get health insurance coverage, and they're not going to be bankrupt by an unexpected health event.
So economically, if you have more people paying into this system, the pool will allow you to cover the sick people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You grow that pool, and then you have more choices.
And the larger the pool, the less expensive the premiums. So everybody gets that reliability on each other.
So, I know that the margins that the big healthcare systems in the state run on are a couple of percent, really, and a lot of it's dependent on good, efficient care of the Medicare and the Medicaid system. Are we doing that right? And where is that at right now politically?
In terms of meeting those margins and those needs,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a challenge in the state right now,
Yeah.
and it's not New Mexico's not alone in that regard because of inflation of drug costs and
Oh,
such.
sure.
So we have a lot of work to do there to help make it viable.
We've kind of historically just survived on that 1%, though, right?
And New Mexico is among the lowest states in terms of reimbursement for Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And we have the largest, so almost 50%, between 40 and 50% of our population is on Medicare and Medicaid, which is a lower
Right.
reimbursement than the commercial healthcare when you look at providers and hospitals and reimbursement.
I tell you, in my practice, I love these Medicare patients. I mean, I'm so happy that they're there. It's so they make it very simple. I guess they don't pay as well, but in my opinion, it's so supportive and simple for the patients. Well, this has just been a fantastic discussion. Nicole Chavez, please vote for her. Anybody who can advocate to get her reelected District 31, we need your help. And Mark Epstein, my associate in GAMA, the Greater Albuquerque Medical Association, advocating for better health care and retention of doctors. Any last thoughts, Mark? I think we heard from her already.
Be safe, take care of yourself, and get out and vote.
Yeah, that's important.
Elections have consequences, guys.
Absolutely.
And when is the election?
November the 4th. We just looked at, or the 3rd.
All
Sorry.
right. Vote for Nicole, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
The show has been a paid commercial advertisement. The views expressed do not reflect those of this station, its ownership, or management.
Physical recovery looks different for everyone, but having the right team and the right tools makes all the difference. At Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital of Albuquerque, their clinicians use cutting-edge technology, from robotic exoskeletons that rebuild movement to simulators that practice everyday skills like getting in a car, climbing stairs, or moving through your home.